Good morning, students. My name is Veronica and I'm the science teacher for class 7. Welcome to part 2 for the lesson Nutrition in Plants. Children, we have dealt with autotrophic nutrition in our first video session. Today, let us learn about heterotrophic nutrition. Let us know about those plants which do not have chlorophyll and cannot synthesize the food on their own. Just think about how do they survive and from where do they derive nutrients. These plants derive food from other plants and animals, and this type of mode of nutrition is called heterotrophic mode of nutrition. The plants in which this kind of mode of nutrition is found are known as heterotrophs. There are four types of heterotrophic plants. First one, parasitic plants. Second one, saprophytic plants, also called saprotrophs. Third one, symbiotic plants. And fourth one, insectivorous plants. Now, let us learn them one by one in detail. First, let's start with parasitic plants. The plants which obtain their food directly from other plants are known as parasitic plants. The plant from which a parasite gets its food is called a host. We can take an example of Cuscuta, which is an example of parasitic plant. As you can see in the picture, it coils around the stem and branches as a yellow tubular structure. You will be surprised to know that it does not contain chlorophyll. So, it takes ready-made food from the plant on which it is climbing. The plant on which it climbs is called a host. We have another type of parasite called as partial parasite. Some parasitic plants like misto, as you can see in the picture, it grows on trees such as mango and has green leaves and can synthesize their food. They take water and minerals from the host plants. Hence, they are called as partial parasites. When you go to a vegetable shop, you might have seen packets of mushrooms sold in it. Besides that, sometimes you may have also seen fluffy umbrella like patches growing around during the rainy season. Do you know what these organisms are and how do they get their nutrition? Children, these organisms are called fungi. They get their nutrition from dead and decaying matter. To get their nutrition from dead and decaying matter, they secrete digestive juice and convert it into a solution, a liquid form. This mode of nutrition in which organisms take in nutrients in a solution from dead and decaying matter is called saprotrophic nutrition, and the organisms which use this kind of mode of nutrition are called saprotrophs. Thus, we can say that fungi are saprotrophs. Students, have you ever heard of symbiotic relationship? And what is the meaning of this term exactly? The relationship between two dissimilar organisms in which both are living together and share shelter and nutrients to each other is called symbiotic relationship. The organisms which are involved in this kind of relationship are called symbionts. Lichen is a good example of symbiotic relationship. Lichen is the association between algae and fungi. In this kind of relationship, algae provides food to fungi and fungi provides protection, absorbed water and minerals to algae. The next category is of insectivorous plants. There are a few plants which can trap insects and digest them and get nutrition. For example, picture plant. Actually, these plants can synthesize their own food by photosynthesis, but they grow in nitrogen deficient soil. So, such plants will fulfill their nitrogen requirement by eating these small insects and hence are called insectivorous plants. In the picture plant, a leaf becomes modified to form a picture like structure with a lid. Inside the picture, there are heads pointing downwards. When an insect enters in the picture plant, the lid closes to trap the insect and it gets entangled in the hair. The cells of the picture plant secrete digestive juices to digest the insect. They use the nutrition obtained from insects to supplement the food they prepare by photosynthesis. Let us move on to the next topic, replenishing nutrients in the soil. Rhizobium, a symbiont. Why is rhizobium called a symbiont? Students, like us, plants also require a lot of nitrogen to make proteins. So they absorb nitrogen continuously from the soil, due to which the amount of nitrogen becomes deficient. As you all know that there is 78% of nitrogen present in our atmosphere, but plants cannot use it in a manner directly as they can use carbon dioxide. They require nitrogen in a soluble form. The bacterium called rhizobium can take atmospheric nitrogen and convert it into a soluble form. These bacteria lives in the roots of gram, peas and beans and other legumes and provide them with nitrogen. In return, the plants provide food and shelter to the bacteria. Thus, we can say that rhizobium shows a symbiotic relationship. Children, now that we know in detail about the heterotrophic and autotrophic nutrition, let us have a glance of what we have learnt. Autotrophs, as they prepare the food using carbon dioxide, water, sunlight and chlorophyll. Whereas heterotrophs, they take the food prepared by the plants. Autotrophs require chlorophyll, whereas heterotrophs do not. There are examples of autotrophs like green plants, bacteria. Heterotrophs, under heterotrophs we have animals and fungi. Since photosynthesis takes place during the daytime, food is prepared at that time. Heterotrophs, as they can obtain the food at any time as it is available to them. Children, I hope everyone is clear with autotrophic nutrition and heterotrophic nutrition. I hope the lesson is clear to you all. Children, Thank you. Stay home, stay safe.